important conversation with the TAM fam today, a necessary one, if I can say that, about the crisis of human trafficking around this country. And we've been talking with Sara Kruzan. She's the author of the new memoir, I Cry to Dream Again, which details her painful experience of being sex trafficked as a teenager and her battle for freedom after she was in prison for killing her abuser. We're joined also by James Dold, a human rights attorney and trafficking survivor who is fighting alongside Sara to make sure what happened to her does not happen to other people. James, thank you so much for joining us as well.
Pleasure to be here, Sara.
Sara, as we said before the break, you were in prison for over 19 years. In 2013, you were finally set free after Arnold Schwarzenegger, the governor of California at the time, commuted your sentence. You walked into prison a 16-year-old girl and walked out a 35-year-old woman. How do you process the moment? You're walking out, but you said, why did I ever have to even be here?
It was an array of emotions, it's hard to encapsulate the feeling other than that hope and faith and perseverance and the beauty of being able to come together and what that looks like and how you can change really hard situations.
I was so struck by the fact that you say that everyone you met in prison, like you, experienced some level of abuse and victimization prior to entering the system. You were there for years. One of the stories that I covered in Illinois that still haunts me to this day, I went to a women's prison, federal prison, and almost every woman there was the victim of abuse and victimization, yet they were behind bars.
Yes.
What do you want people to know about those women and whose stories aren't on the national news?
That it's time that we go in and we talk to individuals and find out what led up to their particular trauma and not highlight the violence. It's like something happened to cause the reaction. And
James, I know that you studied Sara's case. You got in touch with her when she was still behind bars, and you told her you wanted to help her impact change. And you've been working on the law, Sara's law, to prevent any other children from suffering the way Sara did. What was it about? The obvious details would attract anyone to want to help her. But beyond wanting to, you dove in to help her.
That's right, Tamron. And I think for me, early on, when I learned of Sara's case, it really struck a personal chord because I had been a victim of child sexual abuse and child labor trafficking. I met my abuser when I was 13 years old. So when I was reading through Sara's case file about her experience of grooming and how her abuser really preyed on her vulnerabilities and then used the most precious thing that we are given as human beings, love, against her, it really reminded me of what I had experienced for over 2.5 years of my life as a teenager. And I just felt compelled that what had happened to her wasn't right, that we really needed a stronger legal response in place. And the sad reality is, to Sara's point, the overwhelming majority of children who are in the criminal legal system are victims of child sex abuse, physical violence, neglect, some sort of trauma that they've experienced that has led them to that place in their life. And that's why we as a society really need to wrap our arms around them, protect them, love them, and have a system response in place that isn't just punitive in nature.
Thank you for joining us. Sara, listen, you are absolutely incredible. This book, I have no words because you put the words here and you told your story. And I celebrate you, Sara. I celebrate you. Sara's memoir, I Cry to Dream Again, is available now where books are sold. And Sara wanted everyone in our audience to go home with their own copy of her book. Thank you again.